500,000 miles. That's not a typo. Look at this odometer right here. 500,000 miles. And this engine still purrs like it just rolled off the showroom floor. But here's the crazy part. I bought this car last month for just $4,200. Now you might be thinking I got lucky. Maybe I found some rare barn find or had an inside connection at a dealership. But what if I told you there are thousands of these automotive tanks hiding in plain sight, just waiting to be discovered? 3 weeks ago, I met John in Arizona. He daily drives a Lexus LS400 with 478,000 miles on it. Last month, I talked to Sarah in Michigan, whose Mercedes W123 diesel just crossed 525,000 miles. And just yesterday, I documented a Toyota Land Cruiser that's been running strong for 487,000 miles. That's enough to drive to the moon and back. But here's what makes this story even more incredible. None of these people paid more than $5,000 for their vehicles. In fact, most paid far less. In today's market, where used car prices are absolutely insane, there's a hidden category of vehicles that dealers and most buyers completely overlook. These cars aren't just transportation. They're engineering masterpieces that were overbuilt to such an extreme degree that they're practically immortal. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly which cars regularly hit 500,000 miles, where to find them for under $5,000, the secret to spotting the good ones, and most importantly, how to make them last forever. But first, you need to understand something crucial about how these cars were built. Because what I discovered about their engineering completely changes everything you think you know about vehicle longevity. See this engine right here? It's from an era when manufacturers overbuilt everything. Before planned obsolescence, before disposable cars, and before computers designed every component down to the bare minimum specifications. What I'm about to show you isn't just about finding cheap transportation. This is about discovering vehicles that were built so well, they've outlasted the companies that made them. And the best part? Right now is the perfect time to buy them. Let me show you something that will change how you think about car buying forever. This is a current listing for a 2019 Toyota Corolla with 85,000 miles. Price? $18,995. And people are actually paying this. The used car market has gotten so crazy that buyers are fighting over basic transportation at premium prices. But while everyone else is overpaying for relatively new cars with questionable longevity, there's an entirely different market hiding in plain sight. A market where engineering excellence matters more than model year, and where high mileage isn't a death sentence, it's a badge of honor. I recently visited a dealer who specializes in high-mileage luxury cars. In his showroom sat a 2001 Lexus LS400 with 320,000 miles on it. Most people wouldn't give it a second look, but this dealer knew something most buyers don't. These cars were built during what I call the golden age of automotive engineering. You see, in the 1990s and early 2000s, something unique happened in the car industry. Manufacturers weren't just competing on features or style. They were competing on build quality. Toyota spent over $1 billion developing the Lexus LS400. Mercedes was still building cars like they were tanks. And Honda was perfecting the art of bulletproof engineering. The result? Cars that weren't just built to last 100,000 miles, they were built to last forever. But here's what makes this opportunity so unique right now. The market has completely mispriced these vehicles. Everyone's so focused on low mileage that they're overlooking the cars that were actually built to go the distance. Think about it. Would you rather have a 2019 Corolla with 85,000 miles for $19,000? Or a meticulously maintained Lexus LS400 with 250,000 miles for $4,000? One of these cars was built to minimum specifications to keep costs down. The other was over-engineered to compete with the best vehicles in the world. I recently talked to a mechanic who's been working on luxury cars for 30 years. He told me something fascinating. He's seeing more problems with 3-year-old vehicles than with well-maintained cars from the 1990s. Modern cars, with their complex electronics and lightweight materials, simply aren't built to the same standards. But not all old cars are created equal. You can't just go out and buy any high-mileage vehicle and expect it to last forever. There's a specific list of models that were built differently. Cars that were engineered with such excessive tolerance that they're only getting started at 200,000 miles. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you next. The specific models that were built to run forever, where to find them, and most importantly, how to make sure you're getting one of the good ones. Let's start with the undisputed king of longevity, the Toyota Land Cruiser. But not just any Land Cruiser. I'm talking specifically about the 80 series, built between 1990 and 1997. This isn't just an SUV, it's probably the most overbuilt vehicle ever to hit American roads. Last month, I found one in Colorado with 487,000 miles on the original engine. The owner, Mike, bought it 5 years ago with 380,000 miles for $3,800. Most people would have thought he was crazy. But Mike understood something crucial about these vehicles. They were literally built to run for 25 years without a major mechanical failure. You see, when Toyota designed this generation of Land Cruiser, they had one primary market in mind: Australian mining companies. These companies needed vehicles that could run 24/7 in the harshest conditions on Earth. The result? An SUV that's practically impossible to kill. The inline-six engine in these Land Cruisers is so overbuilt that it's common to see them hit 500,000 miles with just basic maintenance. I'm not talking about rebuilds or major repairs. I mean original engine, original transmission, still running like new. But here's the best part. Nobody wants them. Well, almost nobody. While collectors fight over later models and dealers ask insane prices for newer SUVs, these mechanical masterpieces are sitting on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace for under $5,000. Just last week, I helped a subscriber find a 1991 Land Cruiser with 275,000 miles for $4,200. The previous owner had maintained it religiously, with a stack of service records 3 inches thick. In any other vehicle, 275,000 miles would be the end of the road. In a Land Cruiser, that's barely break-in mileage. Now let's talk about the next automotive immortal, the Lexus LS400, specifically the 1995 to 1997 models. This car represents something we'll probably never see again: a company spending over $1 billion to develop the perfect engine. When Toyota created the LS400, they weren't just building a luxury car, they were trying to prove something to the world. The 1UZFE V8 engine in these cars was tested for over 1.5 million miles before production. Think about that. Most modern cars aren't even designed to last 200,000 miles. I recently documented a 1996 LS400 in Florida that just crossed 425,000 miles. The owner, Sarah, bought it 3 years ago for $3,500. The interior still looks new, the engine doesn't use a drop of oil between changes, and everything, from the power windows to the climate control, works perfectly. But what makes these cars truly special isn't just their durability, it's how they drive. Even with astronomical mileage, a well-maintained LS400 feels like a new car. The engine is so smooth you can balance a quarter on it while it's running. The transmission shifts like silk, and the ride quality? It puts most modern luxury cars to shame. The best part? These cars are everywhere. While everyone else is fighting over new vehicles with massive monthly payments, these engineering masterpieces are sitting in driveways across America, just waiting to be discovered. But before you run out and buy the first high-mileage LS400 you find, there's something crucial you need to know. Not all of them were maintained properly, and buying the wrong one could be a costly mistake. In fact, there's a specific list of things you need to check before even considering a purchase. Now let's talk about what might be the most unkillable car ever made, the Mercedes-Benz W123 diesel. And I'm not just talking about any W123. I'm specifically talking about the 300D model with the OM6175 5-cylinder diesel engine. 2 months ago, I met Peter in Wisconsin. His 1983 300D just rolled over 600,000 miles. Not a typo. 600,000 miles. The paint is faded, the interior is worn, but mechanically, it's like a tank that refuses to die. He bought it 6 years ago for $2,800, and it's been his daily driver ever since. Here's what makes these Mercedes diesels so special. They were built during an era when Mercedes was more concerned with engineering excellence than profit margins. The OM617 engine was designed to run for literally millions of miles. In fact, there are documented cases of these engines exceeding 1 million miles without a rebuild. But the real secret isn't just the engine, it's the entire car. Every component was over-engineered to an almost ridiculous degree. The body panels are so thick that modern cars feel like tin cans in comparison. The suspension was built to handle African dirt roads. Even the interior materials were selected to last decades. And right now, these automotive tanks are seriously undervalued. While collectors fight over gas-powered Mercedes models, you can find well-maintained diesel W123s for under $4,000 all day long. Just last week, I helped a viewer pick up a 1982 300D with 340,000 miles for $3,200. The previous owner had every service record since 1990. But let's switch gears and talk about something more practical. The 1990 to 1997 Honda Accord with the F22 four-cylinder engine. Now, this might not be as exciting as a German luxury car or a Japanese Land Cruiser, but what it lacks in prestige it makes up for in sheer durability. I recently documented a 1994 Accord in Oregon with 485,000 original miles. The owner, Tom, bought it 10 years ago with 300,000 miles for just $1,800. Since then, he's done nothing but regular maintenance. Oil changes, timing belts, basic wear items. The engine has never been opened up. The transmission is original. Even the power windows still work perfectly. What makes these Accords so special is their simplicity. Honda took everything they learned about building bulletproof motorcycles and applied it to a family car. The F22 engine is probably the most reliable four-cylinder ever made. It's not uncommon to see these engines running perfectly with over 400,000 miles on the original head gasket. But here's what really makes these cars amazing. They're practically giving them away. While people are paying $15,000 for used Civics with 100,000 miles, you can find these unkillable Accords for $2,000 to $3,000 all day long. Last month, I found a one-owner 1996 Accord with 225,000 miles and complete service history for $2,400. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but these are old cars. Won't they need constant repairs? And that's where most people get it wrong. These vehicles were built in an era before planned obsolescence, before manufacturers started designing cars to be replaced every few years. In fact, I recently compared maintenance costs between a 2020 Honda Accord and a 1994 model. The results were shocking. The owner of the 2020 model spent more on maintenance in 2 years than our high-mileage Hero spent in 5. Modern cars might have more features, but they're also far more complex, with more things to go wrong. Now that you know which cars can hit 500,000 miles, let's talk about how to actually find them. Because here's the truth. For every bulletproof high-mileage car out there, there are dozens of neglected examples that should be avoided at all costs. I've developed what I call the service history gold standard. It's simple. If you're looking at any high-mileage vehicle, the stack of maintenance records should be thicker than your smartphone. Last week, I walked away from a beautiful Mercedes 300D because the owner couldn't show me any service history. 2 days later, I found an uglier one with complete records dating back to 1985. Guess which one I recommended to my client? But service records are just the beginning. Let me show you exactly how I found that $4,200 Land Cruiser I mentioned earlier. Instead of searching for Toyota Land Cruiser like everyone else, I used specific search terms that most buyers don't think about. Terms like one-owner Land Cruiser or maintenance records included. These searches bring up completely different results than your typical Craigslist browsing. Here's another secret. Timing is everything. The best deals on these cars typically appear in winter, especially in northern states. Nobody wants to buy a high-mileage car when there's snow on the ground. That Mercedes 300D with 600,000 miles? The owner bought it in January for almost half what similar cars were selling for in summer. But the real key to finding these automotive immortals isn't just where to look. It's knowing how to spot the good ones. I recently inspected 2 Lexus LS400s on the same day. Both had over 300,000 miles. Both were priced under $4,000. But there was a crucial difference. The first owner could show me every oil change for the past 15 years. The second owner, he couldn't even tell me when the timing belt was last changed. This isn't just about maintenance records. It's about finding cars that have been loved by people who understand what they have. Here's my 3-step process for evaluating any high-mileage vehicle. First, I look at the owner more than the car. The best high-mileage vehicles come from owners who can talk for hours about their maintenance routine. If an owner can't tell you when the last oil change was, walk away. Second, I check for what I call mechanical honesty. A 400,000-mile car shouldn't be perfect. It should have signs of wear that match its mileage. If a high-mileage car looks too perfect, be suspicious. The best ones are often a little rough around the edges, but mechanically sound. Third, I always check the small things. Do the power windows work? Does the AC blow cold? These aren't deal breakers on a high-mileage car, but they tell you a lot about how the vehicle was maintained. If an owner couldn't be bothered to fix a power window, what else did they ignore? But perhaps the most important tip I can give you is this: never buy the first example you find. These cars are out there in numbers, and patience is your friend. The best deals often come from owners who understand exactly what they have, but need to sell quickly for personal reasons. Just last month, I helped a subscriber find a 1995 Lexus LS400 with 280,000 miles for $3,800. The owner was moving overseas and needed it gone in a week. The car had every service record since new, recent timing belt, and drove like it had a third of the miles. Now, finding one of these immortal cars is only half the battle. The real secret to making them last forever is understanding what I call preventive perfection. This isn't your basic oil change schedule. This is about treating these cars like the engineering masterpieces they are. Let me tell you about Mike's Land Cruiser, the one with 487,000 miles. Every 3,000 miles, without fail, he changes the oil. Not 5,000, not 7,500 like modern cars recommend. 3,000. Excessive? Maybe. But that engine still runs like new after nearly 500,000 miles. Here's what most people get wrong about maintaining high-mileage vehicles. They wait for things to break. But these cars weren't designed for reactive maintenance. They were built in an era when preventive maintenance was religion. That Mercedes 300D with 600,000 miles? The owner changes fluids most people don't even know exist. I recently compared fluid samples from 2 Lexus LS400s with similar mileage. The first owner changed transmission fluid every 30,000 miles. The second one never touched it. The difference in fluid analysis was shocking. The regularly maintained transmission looked like it had half the miles. But here's the beautiful part. Maintaining these cars is actually cheaper than maintaining modern vehicles. That stack of receipts from the 1994 Accord I mentioned, the owner averaged $600 per year in maintenance. Try maintaining a new car for that little. The secret is understanding what these cars need before they need it. Every 60,000 miles, without exception, that Land Cruiser gets a timing belt. Every 15,000 miles, that Mercedes diesel gets fresh fuel filters. The LS400 gets its valve clearances checked every 30,000 miles, even though they rarely need adjustment. This might sound like a lot of maintenance, but here's what makes it worth it. These services cost a fraction of what modern car maintenance costs. A timing belt job on a Land Cruiser? $500 at an independent shop. The same job on a modern SUV can easily hit $1,500. And here's another secret. These cars were designed to be worked on. You don't need a computer science degree to maintain them. Most repairs can be done in your driveway with basic tools. That's why you see so many of these vehicles with astronomical mileage. They make maintenance accessible. But perhaps the most important maintenance secret is this: never, ever defer maintenance to save money. These cars will run forever if you maintain them properly, but they'll let you know when you're slacking off. That perfect maintenance history I keep talking about? It's not just about documenting what was done. It's about proving what wasn't skipped. Now, I know some of you might be thinking this all sounds too good to be true. That's why I've created something special. Every week, I document new examples of these automotive immortals, cars that have crossed the 400,000-mile mark and are still going strong. And the best part? I show you exactly where to find them in your area. Just last week, I helped 3 subscribers find their own high-mileage heroes. James found a 300,000-mile LS400 for $3,200. Sarah picked up a W123 diesel for $4,100. Mike scored a Land Cruiser with 250,000 miles for $4,800. But here's the thing about these deals. They disappear fast. Really fast. That LS400 James bought? It was listed for less than 24 hours. The good ones always are. That's why I've started sending out immediate alerts to my subscribers whenever I find one of these immortal cars for sale. But timing is absolutely crucial here. These aren't just used cars. They're automotive investments that are becoming harder to find every day. So here's what I want you to do right now. First, hit that subscribe button. It takes 1 second, and it could save you thousands on your next car purchase. Second, tap that notification bell. When I find a 500,000-mile hero in your area, you'll want to know about it immediately. Next week, I'm revealing my complete inspection checklist for high-mileage vehicles. It's the same checklist that's helped hundreds of subscribers avoid buying the wrong car. Plus, I'll be showing you 3 incredible examples of million-mile vehicles that are still on the road today. Drop a comment below telling me which of these immortal cars interests you most, and I'll make sure to include specific buying tips for that model in my next video. Remember, the best high-mileage cars aren't just transportation. They're proof that they don't build them like they used to. Subscribe now, and let's find your automotive immortal together.